Modern biblical studies typically employ two complementary methods for understanding the Bible: the literary approach and the historical approach. These approaches do not compete with one another. Rather, they work together to help readers understand what biblical texts are, how they function, and what they meant in their original context before asking what they might mean today. Both approaches share a common goal: understanding. They are descriptive and analytical, not prescriptive. They do not require belief, nor do they attempt to undermine it. Instead, they seek to read the Bible carefully, respectfully, and responsibly as an ancient collection of texts. A. The literary approach, reading the Bible as ancient literature. The literary approach begins with a simple but crucial premise: the Bible is ancient literature. Before it is treated as theology, doctrine, or moral instruction, it must be read as texts produced in particular literary forms using the conventions of their time. This means approaching biblical books as stories told for particular purposes, poems crafted with imagery and parallelism, laws structured for covenantal communities, letters written to address specific situations. The literary approach resists flattening the Bible into a single voice or style and instead honors its diversity. Attention to genre. One of the most important tools of literary analysis is genre recognition. Genre determines how a text communicates and how it should be read. For example, narrative communicates meaning through story and character development. Poetry uses imagery, metaphor, and emotional expression. Law prescribes behavior within a covenantal framework. Epistle addresses concrete issues in real communities. Apocalypse employs symbolism and vision rather than literal description. Misreading genre leads to misinterpretation. A psalm is not a legal statute. Revelation is not a newspaper-style prediction of future events. Narrative flow and literary motifs. The literary approach also pays attention to narrative flow, how stories are structured, where tension builds, and how themes develop over time. Biblical authors arrange material intentionally, and meaning often emerges from placement, repetition, and contrast. Closely related is attention to literary motifs, recurring images, phrases, or ideas that carry theological weight. Motifs such as exile and return, covenant and rebellion, light and darkness, or wilderness and promise appear repeatedly across different books, creating coherence within diversity. Sources and redaction. Many biblical books show evidence of having been shaped from multiple sources and edited over time, a process known as redaction. The literary approach does not treat this as a problem to be solved, but as a clue to meaning. Source analysis helps explain repetition within texts, variations in style or vocabulary, multiple perspectives preserved within a single book. Rather than forcing artificial harmony, the literary approach allows these layers to stand, recognizing that meaning can emerge from dialogue and tension within the text itself. Allowing texts to speak on their own terms. Perhaps the most important principle of the literary approach is restraint. It seeks to let texts speak on their own terms, rather than imposing later theological systems, modern assumptions, or personal expectations onto them. This approach asks first, what kind of text is this? What is it trying to do? How would its original audience have understood it? Only after these questions are addressed can responsible interpretation begin. B. The historical approach, reconstructing historical settings. The historical approach focuses on placing biblical texts within their real-world contexts. Biblical writings emerged from specific historical situations: wars, exiles, reforms, persecutions, and imperial domination. Historical analysis seeks to reconstruct when a text was written, where it was produced, what political, social, and religious pressures shaped it. Understanding these factors often clarifies why a text says what it says and why it says it in a particular way. Use of archaeology and external sources. Historical study does not rely on the Bible alone. It draws on archaeology, inscriptions, cities, artifacts, ancient Near Eastern texts, Greco-Roman historical sources, comparative law codes, and literature. These sources do not exist to prove or disprove the Bible. Instead, they help situate biblical texts within the broader ancient world, revealing both shared cultural patterns and distinctive theological claims. A biblical survey, print. Distinguishing historical analysis from confessional interpretation. A critical distinction in academic biblical studies is the difference between historical analysis, which asks what happened and how texts functioned in their time, confessional or faith-based interpretation, which asks what texts mean for belief and practice today. The historical approach does not attempt to adjudicate theological truth claims. It neither affirms nor denies faith commitments. Its task is descriptive, not devotional. This distinction allows classrooms to remain intellectually open spaces, accessible to students of all belief backgrounds, challenging prior assumptions. Critical historical study can, and often does, challenge assumptions that students bring with them. Long-held beliefs about authorship, dating, historical accuracy, or theological uniformity may be questioned. This is not a flaw of the method, but an expected outcome of serious inquiry. Encountering tension between prior beliefs and new evidence is a normal part of intellectual growth. Such tension does not require abandoning faith, but it does require re-examining how faith and history are related. Emphasis on understanding rather than belief enforcement. Both the literary and historical approaches emphasize understanding rather than belief enforcement. The goal is not to tell readers what they must believe, but to help them understand what biblical texts are, how they came to be, and how they functioned in their original settings. This approach respects the Bible as an ancient, complex, and influential body of literature, worthy of careful study regardless of one's personal convictions. Concluding perspective. Taken together, the literary and historical approaches provide a disciplined framework for studying the Bible. They invite readers to slow down, attend to detail, respect difference, and appreciate complexity. Rather than reducing the Bible to slogans or proof texts, these approaches allow it to emerge as a rich, multifaceted tradition shaped by real people in real history, grappling with enduring questions of meaning, identity, and faith.